He said, hold on.
Hello, Benjies. We're going to do that again. So, welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. I am just one of your co-hosts. My name is Randy, and I am a speaker, a trainer, and a podcaster. And I have two exceptional co-hosts. What can I say about my first co-host? She is a writer. She's an actress. She's a director. She's just a flat out superstar. Say hello to the people, Miss Courtney Scott Wright.
Hello, hello. Hi, everybody.
And my next co-host, he's my guy. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's a game designer. He is part owner of the Geekish Network. Say what's up to everybody, Chuck.
What's up, everyone? How y'all doing?
And we are the BingeWorthy podcast. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing well.
Pretty good.
Good. If you have never seen our show, then the premise is that each week we will binge watch a television series. And then we come right here to the podcast to evaluate that series. At the beginning of the show, we are going to rate it using our unique binge-worthy scale. And then we engage in conversation. We are going to explore the characters, the plots, the production value, the visual effects, the full spectrum of the series. And then at the end of our show, we are going to re-rate it. Now, sometimes our co-hosts can influence us to change that rating. It has happened before. Sometimes they can influence us to push it up, and other times it just drags all the way down to the floor. Now, speaking of our binge-worthy scale, it is as followed. At a number 5 is what we call a full binge out. That means that this property is outstanding. It is a can't miss. It is definitely water cooler conversation. That is, if you're in your office. At a number 4 is what we call a full meal. A full meal, it is not quite a full binge out, but it is definitely worth your time to invest in watching this property. At a number 3, we call that a mini meal. A mini meal, it is not bad. It's just not good either. Our superstar, Miss Courtney Scott Wright, always calls it a bland ass TV dinner. And I put without all that Lowry seasoning. At a number 2, it is a snack. A snack, I always say it is that time of year when basketball season is over with and football season is over with, and there is nothing new on any of the streaming services, and all you have to watch is boring ass baseball. That's what a snack is. It is something, it's edible, but it's not going to provide you any nutritional value and definitely not any value that you're going to enjoy. And at a number 1 is a cringe-worthy. And a cringe-worthy is just flat out some old bullshit. Now, today we are evaluating Netflix's The Sandman. And the premise of The Sandman is dream. The personification of dreams and one of the 7 endless is captured in an occult ritual in 1916. After being held captive for 106 years, Dream escapes and sets out to restore order to his realm, the dreaming. And now we're going to go ahead and evaluate it. So I'm going to start with you, Chuck. How are you going to rate Netflix's The Sandman?
I'm gonna get The Sandman a full meal.
Okay.
I started up. There's points where I did go to my phone a couple of times, but I did enjoy the show. I think it's a solid show. The acting is what won it for me, but I give it a full meal.
Okay.
Can't wait to go dive deeper into that.
Okay. All right. I am going to jump in here. The Sandman. It's not bad, Courtney. Don't laugh at me. It is a comic. But I'm thinking about it because I'm gonna go ahead. It's a comic book movie, right? But this is not the Avengers. It's not Superman. It's not Batman. There are no high-flying action sequences. There is no huge like superpowers. There's nobody trying to save regular people. But it is good storytelling. I feel when I was watching it, it's almost like an old school epic poem like Gilgamesh or the Odyssey or something like that, because it incorporates all of these different types of elements. Like we had touches of Greek mythology with the Fates. They mentioned Circe. We've got gods and goddesses, Christianity with Lucifer. So it incorporates all of these things. Now, if you're a person that you're thinking you're going to get one of those exciting action sequences, this is not for you. If you're willing to get lost in the characters and some of the storytelling elements, I think it could be for you. I enjoyed it. I did. And the end left me salivating for more. I don't think it's a full binge out, but I was definitely satisfied with this. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a full meal. And now I'm going to turn it over to you, Courtney. How are you going to rate The Sandman?
You know, I'm kind of a lot like both of you. For me, I'm a bit torn because I totally agree with you both. In saying like full meal. But at the same time, I did binge it in like 2 days because I was really interested to know where the story is going to go. It is very surrealist in terms of like the way the story is told. It did have lots of beautiful imagery that I thought was incredible, that it was straight out of the comic book. There were a lot of homage was paid to the comic book, and the casting and the acting was just phenomenal. But I did think that there were a few things that was a little jarring for me, but I'm torn. I think I'm gonna say full meal. Final answer. But I did binge it.
Okay. So you going full meal?
I'm going full meal. Yeah.
Okay. So that's full meal all across the board. Okay. Courtney, I saw you holding up the comic. Chuck, have you had an opportunity to read any of the comics?
Only a few pages.
Only a few
got
pages.
like 20 pages in.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with you then first, Courtney.
There it is.
Do you feel that this is a good adaptation of the comics? Would fans of the comic book be happy with this adaptation we have?
I think they would be. Like I said, I haven't read the entire first compendium. I just have the first one. But the first 2 episodes were almost pulled straight from the comic book. So even panel for panel, like the way it was shot, which I found that is rare. Like usually somebody tries to change something up or add their own special take, but I think it helped that Neil Gaiman, who was the writer, was also part of the creative team. And I had a chance to hear him talk at Comic-Con about Sandman. But yeah, I thought as a reader, and you know, as a new reader, I was definitely happy with it.
Okay. And I have started reading it. I'm about halfway through the first volume. And what I read so far, I thought it was really spot on, as you said. And I thought that if you were a fan of this, because I wasn't a fan when it first came out, you would be satisfied with this version of it. And as you said, the author of the book, he's been giving it nothing but glowing praise. And so I think that had a lot to do with it as well. Later on, there are some changes to it, what's written in the comic, but I didn't think it was anything that was too out of bounds to make me say, they strayed away or these were some bad choices. So I was happy with the adaptation of it. I'm gonna jump over to you, Chuck. It was rumored that go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it was rumored that Netflix spent up to $15 million per episode for this. Was that money well spent as far as the visual effects?
I thought it was very smart storytelling. The visual specs, 15 million episode is a lot of money.
I think so.
Did the visual effects look good? They looked okay. They look good enough. I realize it's probably all virtual production. Every scene, every environment is probably not real. So that's where the money probably went, particularly the library and all the houses and stuff. Maybe even the hotel was not real. It looked good though. It did. I particularly loved it when Matthew was the crow and he was flying through the environment. And when he came into the living room, into our world, the waking world, when he flew through the sky, cool. And he flew right back down, I was like, that's brilliant. So he flew up through the roof and flew right back down. And I thought that was really well done when they showed that. There were some scenes I thought were really, really strong. So is it worth 15 million episode? I don't know, but I can see them in the COVID era shooting all this stuff on virtual production, and they did it, and it looks really, really good. It looked really good.
Okay.
Yeah, for a COVID era, I would say because there was a lot of everything was very broken up, which this is a series I think that lends for that because Dream spends a lot of different time with different people. So I think that
Okay. All right. And I think Matthew is a Raven, right? Isn't he a Raven?
The Raven.
Because remember, he argues about it. And I had to go Google the difference between a crow and a Raven. Right.
Yeah.
Like, is your head smaller? Like, what's the difference between a Raven and a crow?
I had to go Google the difference, and I still really don't know.
What's the difference?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
Just like, because I called him a crow too. I was like, it's a crow. And
that's a Raven.
Matthew seemed to take offense with being referred to as a crow.
Yeah.
So for this series, we get 10 episodes. The runtime varies between 45 minutes and an hour. There was one episode, I think episode 2, it only came in at 35
like 34
minutes.
Right?
Yeah, 34, 35 minutes. So let's start with Chuck, then we'll go to Courtney. Chuck, do you think this was sufficient time to tell the story that they were trying to tell?
Oh yeah. I thought every minute was well spent. I could say the show didn't waste much time. It actually caught the melancholy feel of the Sandman. You look at all the graphic art, like the art in the graphic novel, it has that feel, and it just felt right. Everything just felt right to me.
Okay. What about you, Courtney? You think 10 episodes was sufficient to tell this story? Could have done more or less?
I do think it was sufficient, but I feel like they may have needed one more just to bridge. And it's not like I think 10 is sufficient, but for me, I feel like they should have woven Rose into it a little bit better. Just because for me, it kind of started like when she just popped in. It was like, okay, we've now finished this first grouping of comic books, and now we're moving into the next grouping. You know what I mean? So I was a little like, oh, okay, who's Rose and why do I care? And I understand they explained it to me, but she just seemingly came out of nowhere. And the same with Desire. I felt like the two of them could have been, if they could have woven them into the earlier episodes, so we knew that there was a through line. So maybe one more episode, but other than that, I think they could have done it in 10.
I didn't mind that at all. I didn't mind characters popping in, no idea who the character, and this world exists, right? And they just pop in.
And that was something that a lot of people, because it was almost told in vignettes. They didn't necessarily, everything didn't necessarily connect.
But it did. Ultimately,
I thought big picture it did, but there was like points, things just hopped in and hopped out. Me personally, and I'm gonna talk about it a little later, I thought Def was so brilliant, and the way that they did that I wanted more from her. Yes. I thought I wanted more from Desire. I was like, oh, who this?
Yes.
He's so it was told in vignettes that built together, and I don't know if they just didn't always connect, and I don't know if they needed to, but
it just felt like to me like those particular characters who were, in my opinion, supposed to be series regulars seemed like guest stars. Do you know what I mean?
Everybody
Like,
seemed like a guest star, but Dream to me.
Yeah.
well, Julie and Lucienne.
Yeah,
Lucienne,
Lucienne. Yeah, Lucienne.
you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. Like everybody else, I just felt like I wanted more death. Like I love that death episode was my favorite episode.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
and
about that.
yeah, but even that one, it changed midway through. It's like the first 30 minutes was death, and then the back half of the episode was about him and his friend, Hob Wadlong or Robert Hob, whatever is, that guy, which I loved him. I loved that whole section, and I thought it definitely had a build. Yeah, it was just for me. I wanted, because I wanted more, like Randy. I wanted more dream, or not dream. I wanted more desire. I wanted more death, and yeah.
And I think that's what it was intentional that they broke it up like that. I liked it. I just wanted it. Just kept me wanting more. So with that being said, Chuck, did you think that it moved a little too slow, or how do you feel about the pacing of the series?
I thought the pacing
too slow.
I thought the pacing was fine for me, because it felt like I was dealing with the Sandman, and I could see the Sandman moving slow. If it would have been faster, I think it'd have been unlike the character. This is a character that builds dreams. And dreams don't have to be fast, and he's more methodical in the ideas, and more thought provoking, so he would take a little bit longer and be slower. I thought the actor did a great job, so I thought he carried the pace of the show, and it felt like he was moving at the right pace. Okay. The first episode I thought it was a little bit too long to have him in prison, but that was the setup, right? That was the pilot, that was the setup, and I thought it felt like 100 years. I think they nailed that.
It did.
It felt like 100 years, and he was locked up.
And you saying that now, it resonates with me now. Maybe that was intentional to keep it long like that, because we've got to demonstrate that it is over 100 years. I think it's 106 years.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be 1916.
Yeah.
I agree. I know you didn't ask me, but I agree with pacing. Cool. No, like I remember when I said last week, when I was like, "Ooh, y'all," after having sat through that panel and watched certain episodes, I was like, "Don't watch it at night," because his pacing is so slow, and like the way that he talks, but it is perfect for Morpheus, and I totally think that it worked. It needed to be that way, because even in his answers, the elongated way he would stretch out like the word no. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like he was so perfectly Morpheus. Like I think the pacing was almost part of the mystique of the show.
And the Sandman, like Chuck kind of said, dreams don't have a pace. We don't know how fast or how slow they go. They move at the time in which they move. And speaking of that, I was watching something with Neil Gaiman, and he was talking about the actor who played Dream. When he was first shooting it, he had a more deeper, raspy voice. And Neil Gaiman came to him and said, like, he literally told him, "This isn't Batman." And so he said, "You're not playing Batman." So from there, he started to adjust the voice that he came up with for this character. And speaking of character, let's talk about the casting. A lot has been talked about. This has been very well cast, from Lucifer to Dream himself, Corinthian, Death we've already talked about. Courtney, how did you feel about the casting for the different characters in the show?
I thought the casting was kind of spot on, especially for all of our the characters that we know, like Morpheus, Lucifer, the actress that played Death, even like Lucienne. The only people that I really had issue with was Unity Kincaid. I didn't think she was remotely 160 years old. And I was like, maybe it's because she was in a sleepy sickness that's why she didn't remotely look. Because girl looked good. Because she looked like she might have been 85. And I was like, and that's pushing it with the 85. And I know black don't crack, but come on, Unity.
And she was the great grandmother.
She was the great grandmother, because she was probably 100 years ago when she went into the sleepy sickness. So then she wakes up and she's 106 years later, for her. So Yeah, no, actually, she was like 8, and it's the
Yeah, she
1916
slept.
to
Yeah, she slept for the
2022.
Yeah.
whole
So
period.
she's
Yeah,
supposed to be like 112.
yeah, she slept for the full period the dream was captured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
By the code.
yeah.
Okay. Chuck, any characters stand out to you, good or bad, if in the casting?
Out of all the cast, I think Death stood out
Yeah,
strong.
man.
Yeah,
Also I
she was
thought Galt
awesome.
stood out really strong. Like the
Yeah,
introduction of Galt.
yeah. I
Um,
thought yeah.
I mean, they stand out. I thought Death was great because when she first came on the scene, I knew who she was. Like, oh, that's Death, and I hadn't gotten that far in the book, so I was like, oh, that's Death. It just felt like Death. Like something about her is like, oh, you're Death.
Really?
Yeah. And then when she went into the boy, she's like, I'm going to see you again. Don't worry.
I felt bad for him. I was like, dang. She said, I'm
I
gonna see you
instantly
soon.
knew that was Death.
I was
I
like,
instantly knew.
oh.
I had to guess. I was like, is she deaf? And I was like, is she? And then when she went, it revealed it. What I enjoyed about that, and we might as well jump into it. Culturally, especially in Western culture, death is always depicted as being like creepy or evil, the Grim Reaper. Hades is the dark, sullen person.
Mm-hmm.
Her energy was so sympathetic and so positive. It was like death, which it is, it's just literally a natural part of life.
It's part of it.
And I thought this actress just bought that. And at first, as I was watching, I was like, she's killing people I don't even care about. Because kind of what Courtney said, like, we were just building up people going in and out. But as she took us on this journey in those few minutes, it was only about 20 minutes, I so empathized with what she was doing. And the way she handled the scene with the baby, it was just
devastated.
Like, oh my God. But if you're going to personify death, I feel like that's how it should be done. I feel like this should be the standard for all depictions of death going forward. And this actress just killed it. She was amazing.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah. It
was really cool.
It's probably Neil Gaiman looking at his Jewish roots and depicting death from a Jewish perspective, because that is more Middle Eastern, less Western European. Western European depicts death very hard and sullen, because death is hard in Western Europe. Death is hard in Eastern Europe. So in a lot of other places, death is just part of the cycle, right? It's just usually death is depicted as somebody that's beautiful, and just in other cultures, and just actually just doing a function. Like, this is what I do. You know, it's a celebration more so than anything else.
And it was.
Yeah, so it was kind of spoiled for me because I saw that scene when they were in the park at Comic-Con. So I knew who she was. I knew she was Death. And I loved the way her interpretation, and her explanation to Morpheus, like what it means to her to literally work for the people and just guide them out.
Yep.
I think the scene with her and the old man who, wanted to recite his prayers right before he died, and the scene with the baby, like, I just got chills again, because the little baby, it was like they were having a conversation. Like, the little baby made little gurgles, and she was like, I'm sorry, that's all the time you have. And I was already like, yeah, but the fact that they didn't see anything but her wing beats, you know what I mean? Like, that was like so beautifully done. It was so much sorrow, but at the same time respectful. And I felt so bad for the mother.
And this Kirby Baptiste is her name. Hal Baptiste. I just thought her energy was just so perfect.
It was.
And in the comic, I believe it's a guy who's deaf. It's not a woman. I thought changes, right? We talked about the adaptation a little earlier. I thought this was a perfect choice to make to deviate from the comic.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of good diversity casting, and just really supportive. I think another part of that scene that I loved was the relationship she had to Morpheus. Like, you could tell that they had a really strong bond.
Yes,
because he sat in that prison for 100 years for her, because he didn't want. He was like they should be glad. You should be glad you did not get my sister. You know what I mean? Like, or like, you didn't get that, you got me instead of Death. And he sat there and didn't say anything. And she even said, you could have called me. And he was like, no, I wasn't going to do that. You know what I mean? Because he knew that's who you wanted. But he also knew that's the one that would have come.
We could have come and got him.
And
would have come and gotten him and taken all, probably like, you know,
Right.
taking them
I
before their time.
I love the fact when they cast the spell on him, he actually said amateur sorcery. Is
Yes.
you know, sorcery done
'Cause
by
they
a
didn't know
bunch
what
of
they were doing.
amateurs. They know what they were
Yeah.
doing, and they grabbed me. And they
Yeah.
got lucky they grabbed me.
Right.
Because they
right.
think
Yeah.
this little thing would have held my sister. Are y'all crazy?
Yeah.
She is deaf.
And when
She
she
would've
got
taken
out,
all of you.
she would have been like Denzel. She would have put cases on all you bitches. They would have all been in trouble.
They
And
all have been
another
in trouble.
thing,
And she
we
was
talk about
And all their family.
we
and when
talk
he
about
told her, he said they were looking for you, and she was like, okay. Like, what they
She was
gonna do
like,
to
I
me?
know.
Like,
No, she said, I know.
uh-huh.
She was
And-
like, yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
looks for me.
Yeah, and
Till
pulling
I
from
show
that,
up. Everybody looks for me until I show up.
that is traditional because the Greeks depicted they depicted sleep and death as being brother
Relatives,
and sisters.
kin, yeah.
And then Nas had a famous line: "Sleep is the cousin of death." I like that relationship, and especially remember at the end too when Dream goes to Desire. He was like, "If you ever try that again, you and Despair, you don't want to see me and death and such and such." So it's like
in Destiny.
they're in Destiny, yeah.
Mhm.
Their bond, you can tell, is really close. That was just a phenomenal episode. So let's talk about the other part of that episode where Death agrees not to take that. What's his name? That one
Unity
character,
Kincaid?
yeah. And
Mhm.
every
Wait.
yeah,
No, not Unique
The
Kincaid.
girl,
was
not
the
you.
name.
You mean the Corinthian?
The man. What's
the
his
man.
name?
No, the man, the
Okay.
one who lives forever. Every 100 years they meet in the pub.
Hobgoblin.
Oh,
Hobgoblin.
Gatlin.
Yeah,
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 Hobgoblin.
yeah. So
Hobgoblin.
in the series, this guy, they're at a bar or a pub, whatever you call it that time, and he's bragging about he's not going to die, he's going to cheat Death. Death and Dream are there, and she overhears
And they're
him.
like, okay.
Okay, so she agrees to let him live forever, and then Dream makes a deal with him that every 100 years they will come back and revisit each other. So
And check in.
yeah, check in. So Chuck, what'd you think? And then we go Courtney. What'd you think about that?
I thought that was a great relationship. Because I mean, he was just talking smack in the pub and didn't expect it. And when it first happened to him, he was like, "Oh, I'm rich. I'm doing this. I'm the man." He was like, "I'm the man. I got married. I got kids. He's up there eating all the food. He's being gluttonous. Like nothing was bothering him. He knew he couldn't die." And then you saw years later, he came in homeless. Like he lost
They
his
didn't
whole
even want to
entire
let him in the
family,
tavern. Yeah.
and he was broken. And then you see him come back, and he's normal. He's humbled, and you just see him coming back every 100 years. But he seems to be the same cheerful person. Like, I know I'm here, and I know I'm supposed to see you. I'm not sure how long this is going to last, but I'm here. And I enjoyed it. And I loved at the end when Dream realized he was a friend, because him and Dream had that falling out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Dream, he was like, I think you need me. I think you're lonely. And Dream got so angry that that a mortal would have the audacity.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. And then he even has to find a new pub because they thought they were gone, but then they find at a new bar, and
because the old pub was destroyed. Time.
Yeah, because after that, when Dream didn't show up, and it was 1989, which that was really hilarious. It's 1989 because he was taken in 1916, so he was still in the middle of his like prison, and I thought that the fact that Hobgoblin was like, no, I still he's gonna come eventually. I gotta make sure that there is something for him to come to,
Yes.
So it was so to see the transition of that actor, of that man, and like all the different facets of life that he went through. I thought it was very well done. It's almost like another layer of not death, but like a continued life, which I thought was it. Technically, they perfectly worked together. It was very balanced, even though it at first glance, the first time I watched it, it seemed unbalanced, but then I'm like, I just loved it so much. I didn't even care. Like, I just loved everything about it. Yeah.
I mean, just their full story. And it was like, you could see that Dream was learning about humanity through him, right? You
Yeah.
know, the ups and downs and pitfalls, the challenges
Mm-hmm.
that are out there. And even when I was watching, I was like, that must be one hell of a pub because it's been around for what, 400 something
Right?
years?
Yeah.
I was like, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
But you got places in the world that
But
have been around hundreds of years.
yes, when I was in Boston, my friend and I went to a tavern that was there during the Redcoats occupation, during like
Mm-hmm.
before they signed the
Amazing.
Declaration of Independence. So it was a
Amazing.
300-year-old
Mm-hmm.
pub.
Yep.
And and
Yeah.
it still had some of the same fixtures. It was really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Like I've been to a noodle shop, udon noodle shop in Nagoya, Japan, that's been around for 150 years. They built the train station around it. Like it's the major train station, Nagoya train station. They built the train station around it, and it's still there.
Yeah. And
The family still lives in it. It's the same family that's run it for hundreds of years. Still runs the noodle shop.
and we're talking about it like, so it tells us like the human experience is at these types of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
A pub, this
Mhm.
since you locating, you've got these vast parts of society, because you had that one woman who, it broke my heart when he said she had been attacked by her
assaulted by her
cousin and left, you know. That's like, oh, but then you have like super rich people there too. It's like it's telling the full story of humanity in these places. So it was like a metaphor. It's like a metaphor for what we are as humans. So
And Dev thought that this lonely man that's gonna live forever is gonna want to be dead one day.
Yeah,
And
like he was like, he really thought 100 years later he was gonna be wanting to be dead.
And 100 years later, he was in it. He was like, yes, I'm having a great time. And then
the second 100 years, he was like, what is going on?
Then he
rebounds.
This is horrible. Rebounds with some humility.
But he still wanted to live. Yeah, he was like, so you want to die? You ready now? No. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be okay.
I'm gonna be okay.
It's like,
I lost everybody. Like, can you imagine that? Like, you're like, I lost everybody, but I'm gonna be here. I lost everybody. I went to a spiral. I lost all the fortunes. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And then he got it back, and he was humbled. He was like, I'm probably wealthy now, but I just don't show it anymore.
Yeah. So life is not about our materials. It's about the material things. It's about
the moments
we go through. Right. It's about those moments. And I had to teach Dream a huge lesson about humanity.
And one of the things he looked forward to every moment was actually seeing Dream. Like every 100 years, at the end of the 100 years, he looked forward to seeing Dream.
For just one day.
One day. Had no idea who he was.
Not even like how long, because the scene where we met like the original Joanna Constantine and his time was cut short. Like he didn't even get to really spend time with Dream before she showed up and like ruined everything. He was like, you want to go to another pub? And Dream was like, nah, we probably shouldn't. And he was like so disappointed, like this bitch done fucked up my dinner date. You know what I mean? I've been waiting 100 years to see him. And so I love that, like the first thing he said to him when he saw him was like, you're late. That was it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
because he's 100 years late because he missed the last one. Yeah. So
yeah.
So speaking of Joanna, in the comic, Joanna is John Constantine. They actually choose John Constantine, the one we know from the famous DC franchises. So was this a good choice to use Joanna? I'll start with you, Courtney. Do you think using Johanna in this instance, was this a good choice? Another deviation from the original source material?
I think it was, because at first I was not sure, because I don't watch a whole lot of Doctor Who, but the most of Doctor Who that I watched was with her, where she played the Impossible Girl, and I was underwhelmed. But she slays as Joanna Constantine. Like I absolutely adored her, and I adored her relationship with Morpheus. Like I wanted more from her, because I was like, I need y'all to like, go on a little date or something. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
where I
like,
thought they were going.
It was so sexy. It was so the field between them was so palpable. Like I just wanted more of them together. So the fact that we only got one real episode with her and then her in the past, I needed more of Joanna Constantine.
Which was super quick. The one in the past was super quick. It was what?
Super quick.
40? It's like a minute long. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was kind of the beauty, because dreams are fleeting. And that was a theme that was constantly promoted throughout the show. And so we didn't get a long time with a lot of characters that we would have wanted to spend more time. Chuck,
Yeah,
man,
but that was a
Very
different
meaningful.
person in the past, though. That was Lady Joanna Constantine, her identical 18th century ancestor.
yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
same person.
Yeah,
It's not the same
so,
person, but it's
yeah,
like that's but the name, I think the name has to carry
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Like in the
carried on.
And he
family,
Yeah,
said
like
that he was like,
yeah.
I knew her for 300 years ago. Like, and he was like,
right.
is she different?
No,
Is she the
she's
same?
identical.
Like,
That
what
lets you
kind
know
of?
how humans, how we always like someone looks like your grandma, you know, like great grandma. Is like, yes,
Right.
this is it. And y'all have the
I
same
felt,
name.
Yeah,
and I
so good
felt
stuff.
like it was almost like she was uh like reborn. It was
Yeah,
almost like she was reborn
yeah.
into the same family as the same character. But I thought that episode was very telling in the sense of we know why her literally dream cursed her entire line, her entire family, because that dream that he gave her for interrupting his damn dinner carried on to that nightmare that he gave her, carried on to the current present day Joanna. And so he was like, you won't be plagued by that nightmare anymore, because basically he released her from the curse that the original Joanna had said
Yeah, he put on the
caused.
original. Yeah, cause
Right.
yeah. So this, I found it very interesting. I thought it was a nice switch to have her versus John Constantine. I think what we're going to see is hopefully a series comes out of this for Joanna Constantine. We know Netflix has the rights to Constantine, so hopefully a series. Yeah, they do. They do. So hopefully a series will come out of it. You know, and Constantine does make an appearance in Lucifer, but not much of an appearance.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so because they are DC properties.
They are
and
DC properties.
I was
yeah.
imagining though that the check would have had to be a little bit higher, because in the comics are just another kind of deviation. The Ruby is taken by the Justice League, specifically Batman and Green Lantern. And I was like, yeah, DC wasn't about to lease out Batman and Green Lantern to nobody, right?
I didn't even get that far comic book yet.
Yeah,
but like that's hilarious.
Yeah, so like he's using it to cause people to have nightmares. So the Justice League runs up on him and they take it from him. And then later on, it's actually John the Martian who actually helps him to get it back. And I was like, nah, that check would have been
big Martian Manhunt. There's no way they could do that.
Yeah, all three of them, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and Batman. Now you talking about what?
In the Justice League, you gotta actually build. You have to actually build the Justice League. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, you talk about $1 billion franchise right there. So that wasn't happening. But let's talk about it, since we are talking about characters to carry over. What I didn't know was the Lucifer that's in hell is the same Lucifer from the series that's on Netflix.
Yes.
That's the same character. That's where that character was created. But it is a guy we know from the Netflix series. They changed it up. So, Chuck, what you think about this Lucifer? Then we'll
I liked the show Lucifer's Lucifer. This Lucifer I actually enjoyed too. I was like, okay, I enjoy Lucifer. This is good. I like this. Mezakine from Lucifer. I adore her. I adore that character. That character's a loose cannon. And I thought this Mazikeen was like, oh, you're okay. You got half a face. That's about it. But Mazikeen from Lucifer is off the chain. And I was hoping to have that level of I was like, oh, they got Mazikeen. You got to be as crazy as Mazikeen. You got to be as crazy as Mazikeen. And I feel like this Mazikeen was kind of cool. And so I did enjoy Lucifer. I like Netflix's version of Lucifer. The first Lucifer, the original Lucifer, because he's just cheeky. He's a cheeky bastard.
Yeah.
Cheeky the whole entire time. And he reminds you of Lucifer. Like he's that person like, I'll fuck anything and do all the drugs. And this Lucifer is like regal, like royalty, which I kind of enjoy. Like this Lucifer is like, I am the Lord of this dominion. I am the Lord of this dominion. And the only thing that separates me from God is me not kicking God's ass right now.
Said he's the most powerful one other than the creator. That was literally what Dream said when they were in hell. So Courtney, how about you? How'd you like this this Lucifer? Good decision.
Really interesting, because the whole time, so I didn't know that Lucifer, the character that became their own comic book series, was born from this series, because when they said Mazikeen, I was like, that is just like the other Lucifer. Yeah. So now that I know that, like had I not known that, like up until this, literally 15 seconds ago, I was like, Gwendolyn Christie was okay. Like she did okay. Yeah. She put her own spin on it. But now that I know that, why couldn't y'all get Tom Ellis? because I think that would have been such a great crossover.
It would have been such a great crossover.
That was
It would
the
have been
problem.
amazing to have Tom Ellis and Mazikeen and the actress that played Mazikeen.
Well, that was the problem. It's deviating like from the original, and they thought it would create confusion if you have the same actor playing both of the roles, because Lucifer's kind of taking its own life. It's not consistent with what was defined in the comic. And so if you had the same actor play it, it creates confusion. And those worlds aren't necessarily connected anymore.
And
I think he would have done a better job. I mean, Gwendoline Christie was okay. I loved the battle scene, the surrealist like battle of wits. Yes. I love that it wasn't just an actual warrior,
like a war. It was not a fight. Like, it was a fight of
thought provoking, and it was really beautifully and brilliantly fought. Man. And I enjoyed every single second of it. Yep. The whole Hale episode was so phenomenal.
It was amazing,
and I thought Hale looked beautiful. I was like, oh,
like when the guy came across and handed me the key, like came to life on the doorway.
Right, that whole when he had to ring had to ring the dong and like or the gong, and then like even when he saw his lover who they alluded to, who Desire alluded to a little bit later, that. When he saw his lover and then she saw the way that she knew him, I was
a black man.
So good.
As a black man, I was like, oh, what Dream out here doing?
I was like, Dream, you've been masquerading as a black man.
They said they had a group. They were the first people.
Yeah.
And it was an African group.
They were the first people. The first people. Yep. Dream said she was one of the first people. Yeah. So I was like, wow, I thought it was beautiful. I thought all that whole entire episode. I thought Matthew talking to him, and Matthew like, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to die here. I'm going to be here with you.
Yeah. His relationship with Matthew, I thought was really powerful, he was like, because Jessamine, he was devastated when Jessamine died.
Oh man, I was hurt when Jessamine died.
I was hurt. I was hurt when Jessamine died.
Jessamine about to get him. I was like, oh no.
And that's so powerful to me because we didn't have any backstory. We just seen a little crow flying around.
Raven.
But we still made a raven. You're right. A raven. You're right. A raven flying around, and then when it got killed, we still felt it, not knowing anything about it. Some good storytelling going on here.
It is a lot of good story. I was really impressed with like the Jessamine and the whole side. It hurt my soul when Alex killed Jessamine, because I knew Alex really didn't want to kill Jessamine. He did it because his father made him do it. And then Alex fell into the same trap his father set.
And Alex sealed his fate with Dream that day when he killed Jessamine.
And he kept telling Dream, like, just I'll let you go. Make sure me and Paul live forever. Just I don't care if you kill everybody else here. You kill everybody you want here.
And he just see the security guards looking on their face. They was like, what?
Wait, everybody here. Just me and Paul, because I love Paul. Yeah. And let us die our old age. And Dream was like, nah,
dude.
Y'all gonna die. You killed Jessamine.
Yeah, because your daddy died 40 years ago, and and Dream thought he was gonna let him go. He thought that Alex was gonna let him go, only to have Alex bitch out and was like, no. And the guard's like, oh, what would your dad say? Your dad is dead. Bitch, make a decision.
He was scared. You know, he was a young boy, scared.
He was a little bitch.
Yeah, and he just killed Jessamine, and he knew Jessamine was important to this creature. And I get it.
At that point, I wouldn't have let him out neither.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. After he killed Jessamine, he had to know.
And then Dream gave him that look.
I think Dream would have let him go. I think Dream, if he had let him go, he did what he needed to do as a kid. He was still a kid.
That's like somebody saying they killed your kid.
And Dream, even though had no problem killing kids. Yeah, he was gonna kill Rose.
Well, he was a child. But here's the thing: she was the same age, around same age as like
Alex.
I think she was around the same age as Alex. But here's the thing: when the dad died, and this is well after Jessamine, he shot Jessamine. He shot Jessamine as like a kid, like a kid. So that's why I think Dream would have forgiven that, because he stood up like you're gonna open this for me. Like there was no malice in him. I truly believe that he was going to.
Good one.
It doesn't.
I don't think so. I think he's gonna kill him.
I think
he's gonna kill them all. I think he's gonna kill everybody in there.
I don't think he would
Everybody
have.
was worthy of death. Because you got to think, even when Lucerne said, she's like, I forgot who he was. He was gone 100 years, and I forgot who he was.
And we're going to talk about that arc in just a minute. But first, I want us to go into the Corinthian. We got to talk about the Corinthian.
Ooh, I like the Corinthian.
So I'm going to ask you first, Courtney, was the Corinthian driven by the right motives? Because his motive was he did not basically want to be Dream's bitch anymore. That was basically, to me, his motive. You making a face, so you seen it different. So I'm gonna ask you, was Corinthian right?
Well, I'm gonna put it to you this way. I think that, like Galt, Corinthian was created to be a nightmare. Mm-hmm. Like that was his mission. Mm-hmm. And the same with Galt. They were both created to be nightmares. And Dream, as he told Galt, like he was unyielding in the sense of, this is how I made you. The difference between Galt and the Corinthian is that the Corinthian embraced the evil side and what he wanted to be, and Galt really went about it in a different way. She went about it to reach Dream in a different way. She made different choices while he was away, and that ultimately showed him, added to why he changed his mind. But the Corinthian proved himself to be exactly what Dream made him to be, and he was a personification of pure evil, and then created a cult. I don't think it was necessarily he didn't want to be Dream's bitch anymore. Is that he wanted the right to roam free and do what he felt like he was meant to be. He thought he was following his purpose. This is what I'm meant to be. It wasn't about Dream at all. It was literally, this is my purpose. This is what I'm meant to do. Now, did I like the Corinthian? Only when it came to Jed. I thought he was justified in what he did to Jed and what he did to that little raggedy ass, like, DCFS worker. Bitch, you should have told. That's his sister. Like, legally, she would have had a case in order to get her brother back. She was a legal adult, and you should have been helping the family recover and get back together, as opposed to leaving him with people that aren't even the same race as him. I don't even believe they knew his damn daddy, but that's a whole nother story. So my opinion is different than yours, but at the same time, I think we're saying the same thing. Like, he just wanted to exist and
do his own thing.
Yeah,
and I agree with you about
I thought he didn't want to be a Dream anymore. He wanted to exist and be his purpose, which was be a murderer. And he was, people got to understand, he was the Dream created to give murderers remorse. And he's like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. I want to inspire them. I want to be their inspiration. I'm gonna be this real version of myself and go out and murder people as the Corinthian. And he didn't mean to create the serial cult. It just happened. He didn't mean to create serial killers.
Can we talk about the fact when they said the serial cult, like serial convention? It was spelled like
collectors.
Collectors.
Right,
serial
collectors.
And they were serial killers.
How you gonna collect cereal? You know what I mean? Like, actual breakfast cereal. But that was the sign, and shit was genius. It was so genius. It was
genius.
When I saw that, I was like,
genius.
I can't take away from that.
They were like, "Oh, who can we invite? Oh, we need a head speaker,
a spokesman." Yeah.
Yep.
And keynote speaker. And it was like, who does everybody want? The Corinthian.
Right. I want to know who the family man was who couldn't do the job. I'm like, what the hell were you doing? What kind of serial killer were you? But I thought it was super interesting that, and I had questions, and I'd love to know what you guys thought in terms of, like, and I haven't gotten to this in the comic book. So if anybody read the comics in the chat, please let me know. Why was he named the Corinthian? Because obviously Corinthians is a book in the Bible, Corinthians 1 and 2. So I want to know, like, why was he named the Corinthian?
Wasn't the Corinthian, though? Wasn't it letters? There was letters that Paul wrote to people in that town, and that's what it was called. Because it's 1st and 2nd Corinthian. And
I know that's all I know is 1st and 2nd Corinthians. I don't know what it was.
I thought it was letters, but I could be wrong.
I can find out for you right quick.
Yeah. So, But that's what I thought it was good. And we haven't even talked about, so that's what I thought it was interesting about the overall storytelling.
So
Because he
Corinthian, they
imposed
were
these
named after
different
they were
things.
named after biblical characters. So there's a second Corinthian too. So it was the
Uh-huh.
first
First
Corinthian
and
and the
second.
second Corinthian
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Altering his personality to be obedient and useful rather than homicidal.
Oh, interesting. Whereas
Oh.
The dreaming,
Donald
the second
Trump called
Corinthian
it
is haunted by the
Corinthians
actions
2.
of the first.
Oh, wait. So wait, what? The second Corinthian is haunted by the actions of the first?
So season 1, we just had the death of the first Corinthian.
Yeah.
In season 2, he creates a second. In the future season, he creates a second Corinthian.
Right, because he said, "I'm not ready to remake him yet." But that little, he kept the little skull with those little crazy ass like teeth eyeballs. Like that shit was. I was like, I can't look at you.
So hilarious. So I do want to talk about before we head out of here. I thought Dream had a big arc. I thought because the way they talked about him, the Dream we knew before would have never apologized. He would have never done this. He changed. And I think humanity, his experiences with humanity and being captured, it influenced his change. So Courtney, I want to start with you. How do you feel about the arc or do you even feel that Dream had an arc throughout the series?
I definitely felt like he had an arc. He had a clear arc from where he started to who he was. And I think a lot of it had to do with, in fact, his relationship with Hob Gadling and his imprisonment by humanity and his walkthrough with death. Because even you saw the way he was with Lucianne to where he ended up, like with the conversation that Fiddler's Green and I think it was Fiddler's Green. I know it was somebody green.
Fiddler's Green.
It was Fiddler's Green and Lucianne, like just the way that they talked about it and the way he talked to them, because he was so firm, and with Galt, he was so firm and tried to hold on to the old version of himself. But even he had to realize that things needed to change. And I loved his arc. I thought it was so beautiful, especially with the conversation that he even had with Rose, because I don't think he really wanted to get rid of Rose. I think that the fact that he had a conversation with a vortex, which was more than he had ever done. It had to
scare him to death, right? I'd imagine it scared him.
Man, I don't think it scared him.
I don't think it scared him.
I think it scared him
because he just knew he needed to deal with it. It was just,
he knew it could potentially kill him. It could potentially kill him.
Yeah, so
he was that close with it. Yeah,
he had to kill it before it killed him. I think he knew it was just a thing.
Yeah,
like, I thought he used Rose just as bait. He Dumbledored Rose.
He Dumbledored Rose. He definitely did.
He Dumbledored Rose.
I thought that because he would have taken her out in a minute.
I definitely think he would have taken her out in a minute.
Like without question. Just like I wish he would have taken out Jed's family them little raggedy ass parents. That was hard for me to watch. It's really hard for me to watch. First of all, you got white people torturing a little black boy. I
thought that image was just so vivid. Like, wow.
Vivid.
If you ever saw Atlanta, you see something just as wild.
Yeah. It's
I can't watch. I watched the first season of Atlanta, and second season, it's very visceral for me because it's very real, and it's a little too real.
Yeah. And this one was
so too real.
So Chuck, what about you, man? What do you think about thanks, Courtney. What do you think about the arc of Dream, or do you even think that he had an arc?
I think Dream had a great arc. I thought Dream arc was good. I think it was he came more human in a sense. But everybody talks about Dream and what Dream was before. Like even Desire mentioned Dream was like an asshole, like the pompous asshole. Even Death, even Lucifer talks about Dream being an asshole. So Dream is an asshole. And for Dream not to be an asshole, more of an asshole, is shocking to everybody. Like, hold on, who are you? You're not this person that's always the asshole, And I think the way he handled the vortex, she was like, you're keeping the vortex alive so it can lure out your dreams. And I think it was Galt wanting to be good. Galt bled. It's like, look, I want to be good. I'm tired of being a nightmare. Yeah. I'm tired of haunting people. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Fiddler's Green was like,
I'm
not the heart. You're the heart of this land. I'm just here. I'm just a place where people live. You're the heart. When you're not here, I just wanted to try something different. I wanted to breathe and move. And then the Corinthian, I think the Corinthian moved him too. And the Corinthian was like, I was made for a purpose. here it is. You want me to torture those doing the purpose you had me do. Why not let me inspire them? I'm inspiring them. Like when they came and grabbed him for the cereal, the kid over the cereal, he was like, give me a reason why I shouldn't kill all three of y'all. Give me a reason why I shouldn't kill all three of y'all.
But they knew to play into his vanity.
They knew to play into his vanity.
Copycat his signature move,
and he'll taking the eyeballs.
Yeah, right, taking the eyeballs out. Yeah.
And he showed up like, look, yo, that's what I've been doing for the last 300 years. Y'all need to calm that down. Y'all need to calm that down. This is me. This is me at my finest.
And Dream, when he got real snippy with Lucine, I don't know, it really made me angry.
It made me mad too.
It made me angry. I was like,
he like, go back to the library.
She's been holding the kingdom down for the last 100 years, and she knows what she's doing. Everybody comes to her, and you gonna act like an asshole to her?
Yeah.
To her?
The only one who stayed.
Right.
The only one that stayed.
To her? Yeah, man, that made me. I was like,
and she was once a nightmare too. He put her in the library.
Okay.
She said that to him. She was like, I wasn't always the librarian. Remember what I was before this.
Right. Yeah, man. I was almost about to turn Dream into the villain of the series when the way he talked to. I was like, nah, he's the hero, he's the villain, and God, she's the hero, and maybe the Corinthian.
No, I even like Cain and Abel's relationship. And how Abel was like, Cain can't help himself. This is what he does. He kills me over and over again. We were brothers, and this was the first murder, and he kills me over and over again. But when Godfrey, they took Godfrey from him, and he was so angry.
Yeah,
Cain was like,
yeah,
you gave him to him. Killed him.
Right. He was like, stand up to him. You let him come. He been gone the last 100 years. You just gonna let him come in here and take him from us?
Take Godfrey from
you gotta die right now.
Then he got mad because he was like, we'll name this one Gavin. He was like, Gavin? No, that's not. All gargoyles.
No, Irving.
Irving.
He name him Irving.
Because Cain said it had to begin with a G.
With a G.
Yeah.
And they named him Goldie.
Well, he named him. He was like, what about Gerving? And he had to die.
So we're a lot of good characters that we just need. I hope if it's renewed, and which I don't see, I think it's doing really well. I hope we get a lot of these characters that were introduced in this season flushed out more. So I'm looking forward to that.
I don't need them flushed. I just need people appearing. Like I like when Despair and it was Desire was talking to the Despair.
Oh God, she was killing me when she was like, like scraping her face out.
Yeah,
I would like to know about the prodigal son.
Yeah, I wonder who the prodigal son is too.
Despair is hilarious, man.
Desire.
Desire. Yeah. I need to see more of this character.
He was like Desire.
I need Desire to be the big bad for next season.
I'll get you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get you next time.
Yeah, I need to be the big bad.
The problem I had with Despair was I was like, why you gotta get an overweight woman to be Despair?
In the comic, that's how she is.
She is.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
She's overweight in the comic.
There's two.
One of them does die and then comes back, but they're both overweight, and I think maybe that's part of the despair. I don't know.
Despair,
a bad cycle, Okay. All right. So, we're gonna rewrite this. We've talked about it ad nauseum. I'm gonna start with you this time, Miss Courtney Scott Wright. How are you going to re-rate the Sandman?
Man, I really liked it, and I'm going up. It was binge-worthy for me.
Binge-worthy?
I'm going up. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in it.
Because I was on the fence, and just the more I talked about it and the more and I started rewatching it again just so I could understand things that I missed. So I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I'm going up.
Okay. And I'm going to jump in here real quickly. You guys really helped me. This conversation really shed a lot of light. It was just like having a good conversation about it. It was almost a book club to me. It's like you get a book, you're like, okay, maybe. Then you start talking about it and you're like, oh yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go up too. I'm gonna go up to a full binge out as well. Chuck, what about you?
I'm gonna go up too. I'm going to a full binge out as well. So the more I think about it, I think it was definitely the characters that won it for me.
Yeah, man.
The plot was really good too. and it was a simple story. It wasn't really complex, but the complexity of all the characters, like even Jed, like I love the fact that Jed was the Sandman. Galt make Jed the Sandman was helping the Sandman, and when Morpheus and Rose ran into him, it was like she calls you the Sandman too, and starts laughing.
Yeah, he was like, "You're the Sandman."
You're the Sandman.
It was like, oh my goodness, I like Jed better than Rose.
I liked both of them. I thought both of them were great. I loved everybody in that house, Ken and Barbie.
Oh yeah,
Ken and Barbie
was
hilarious, man.
They were hilarious.
I loved
like
all of them. I was like, yo,
sleeping with her husband,
right?
Her
and Rose
husband,
bringing her
dream
into the
baby.
dream, seeing them. Yeah, that was something we didn't follow up on him. The baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dream,
he said the baby's mine.
Yeah, the baby's mine.
I'll
come for the baby.
I think they're coming. I think season 2
but,
coming for that baby.
But it's interesting because the baby's one of the endless. And so Desire set Dream up to kill Rose. Rose was the vortex, but she's one of them. She's one of the endless.
Yeah, she's an endless.
So if he kills an endless, it ends his reign. He falls.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying,
man.
So Desire was like, I almost had you kill her. If I would have had you kill her, you've been gone.
Desire is our big bad. I don't know if he is or not, but I think he should be our big bad for season 2.
Yeah,
I would like to
I think he was.
I think I want to see more of him season 2.
Okay. I liked what Lucifer. I like Lucifer's end. Like Mazikeen was like, when the generals came, was like, yo, we didn't like you losing, boss. We ready to ride on everybody.
All of them. Yeah, that's what he said.
Take them all out. We just got to find one realm at a time.
And then we're going to make even creation. We're going to make even him pay attention to what we about to do. Yeah, that was a great scene.
That was. It was like,
and
wow.
She knows, like, even though she knows not to trust the general, she's like, but, I can use them.
Yeah. She's like, y'all stop fighting long enough to come to talk? Like, I thought that was really great of that, too. Like, we stopped fighting because we saw what Dream did to you. We didn't like it at all.
But here's the thing, that she set him up. She set up the whole thing because Dream was like, I just want my helm back. And dude was like, no, I'm not giving this to you. That's my fair and square. And she was like, oh, you got to have a battle. Oh, I'll be your person. Didn't nobody tell you to stand up and be his lieutenant, his choice?
He told it. He's my champions is the boss. So she's willing to take it. She's like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And she's undefeated.
And he didn't think he was going to win. That's why he tried to keep what you were calling out to go back. He didn't think he was going to win. He like, I'm in hell fighting Lucifer.
Yeah. And there's a battle of wits.
The battle of wits. And he already said, she's
she was
number
like,
1.
And Matthew was like, yo, you better come up for word. You better come with something that she cannot beat. Something she cannot beat. And he's like, hope. What beats
even
hope?
In hell, demons have hope.
Yep. Nothing beats hope.
Yeah. And the title of the episode, I think, was Hope in Hell. I think that was the title.
Because everything in hell, the reason it's in hell, because it has hope of getting out. It's not hell if it doesn't have hope. I was like, that's the most brilliant battle I have ever seen. I was like, that wins everything. Because she couldn't say what beats hope. Because she says what beats hope.
There's nothing that beats hope.
Right.
Because if she says something beats hope, all the demons would have heard it. And they would have started using that to get out of hell. Hell wouldn't exist no more.
Yeah, man.
And so he said hope, and she got quiet. He got quiet. So I was like,
she just said, give him the helm. That was it.
Give him the helm.
Yep.
Marty,
you got anything to say before we head out, ma'am?
No. Good luck and good night.
All right. Chuck, you got anything to say before we head out?
No, man. What are we looking at next week?
Dota season 3.
Oh, Dota. Okay, we're back with Dota.
Yeah, we're coming back with Dota.
Forgot about that.
Excited.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Okay. So as always, shouts out to Digital Click. They provide our beautiful surroundings, help us to look good so we can be at our best for you. Shouts out to Rodney and Chuck for manning production keys. You guys do that absolutely marvelous. And if you are watching this on YouTube, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. We're also on Facebook. Do not forget to like us there. The Geekish Network, we are a network of people of color. We have a bevy of talent. We've got in front of the camera talent, we've got actors, directors, we've got production people, we've got technological peoples, writers, a full spectrum. And we do this to bring content to people who look like you, people who look like us. So please spread the word and support us. Next week, we will be back watching season 3 of Dota. Until then, same geek time, same geek channel. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Bye.
One of y'all, Chuck, Rodney.
I told Rodney, just to close it off. Just to close it.
We're not going, y'all.
We're not going back.
Just go ahead and
It's the
laugh.
epilogue. It's the
It's
epilogue.
epilogue. We keep going. Are y'all excited about Dota?
Season 2
I
Dota
don't
was
remember
great, man.
I don't remember how it ended.
Yeah, I'm
I
about to
think
go
we gave it
back
a
and
full
watch the
binge out.
seasons.
Yeah,
We did because it was something about like the little fire girl like killed everybody, like tried to kill everybody, and then she died. Like yeah.
So yeah, man. We don't know.
Well, and then like the evil fairy lady, she came back.
She came back, yeah, and then one of the dragons came back, right?
Yeah, the bald headed dude was the secret dragon.
Something like that.
The bald headed dude of the princess is Princess Marana. Princess Marana.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my God, and they're quick episodes, at least the last one, because I had to do it from season 1 to season 2. So I might go back and watch season 2 again in preparation for season 3.
Yeah.
All right, are we heading out?
Yeah, we're heading out.
All right, bye. Peace.